Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and X-Men+Fantastic Four, issue number 3 of, I believe, 4. We're really going to wrap this up now? You know what? Hell, if the world is going to end, at least hopefully we can survive for another month. 29th of April, I think, is when the final book comes out. I don't want to be on my deathbed without knowing how this freaking thing ends. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? If I'm stuck there in my bed, I'm just the respiratory problems and everything. If somehow that's how I got to go out, I just, when the 29th comes out, turn the computer sideways, turn the monitor sideways, let me read the rest of this damn book, bruh, because I'm saying I have got to know how this freaking thing ends. Wow, it's like that. By the way, this isn't me being insensitive. It's me trying to make light out of a really funked up situation. Let's get started. As far as the creation of this book, hey, if they really wanted me to tell you who made the book, they wouldn't have made the title page as stupid looking as this one is. It's the worst thing I hate about this book. Wow, it's horrible trying to read off of that dumb thing. Anyway, so basically Chip Zdarsky does the writing, and the Dodsons, Terry and Rachel, are most responsible for the creation of this book. A couple other people too, but again, they don't want you to know who it is because they put it on that stupid title page. Let's get started. Basically, we have the X-Men chasing after the Fantastic Four immediately where we left off. Oh my God, this is going to read great in a trade paperback, brah. Like, straight up. If we could ever go back to paper again, I am so down with getting this on freaking trade, man. Woo! So, chasing down, and here's where I'm going to tell you about the thing that I second dislike about the book, and that is the art. I've seen the Dodsons do better art than this on accident. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why they're making the book this way. They rushing or something like that. If that's the case, make this bi-weekly. You know what I'm saying? Because this, bi-monthly, whatever. Because this is just too much. It really is. Like, there's some parts in here, and right in the beginning, it immediately puts me in a sour mood. Because we see Cyclops getting up on the, front, like, hey, we need your piloting skills and whatnot. Like, we need that Summers touch. Hey, Summers is an excellent pilot, but you know who's piloting the Fantastic Four's vehicle, right? Ben Grimm, World War II pilot. Technically, they moved that to Desert Storm, but you get the gist. You know what I'm saying? The sliding time scale. So these freaking guys, man, they're chasing each other down dogfight style. They're not, but like, you'd figure Johnny Storm is like throwing some fireballs back, right? No, he doesn't even bother. Well, the X-Men don't have a problem with that. And I think it's because there wasn't any shooting to begin with. You don't want to be the one who fires the first shot, especially if you don't hit with that first shot. You know what I'm saying? Everybody likes to sit there and be like, oh yeah, I'm Han Solo and Luke Skywalker on the Millennium Falcon shooting at TIE fighters. But they're the clear and evident bad guys, the TIE fighters. Who's the real bad guy here? X-Men fans will say the Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four fans will say these guys. Me, I'm like, they're both jackasses, but the Fantastic Four is worse. In this particular case, man, they funked up bad. Okay, when Cyclops just turns around, he's got that thing over his face and like, oh, please tell me that's guiding a weapon. And it does. It really does. And I'm like so happy about it. He's just like, hey, boo. Takes the freaking ship down and everything. Here's where the art actually bothers me a little bit. Freaking knuckleheads, they don't bother showing where it comes out of the ship. I want to see where the Blackbird actually fires this thing. Because I was so disappointed. It's just like off camera, off panel. Pew! Nah, dude, I want to see the whole thing. Anyway, they wind up landing. And they wind up landing, of all places, on Doom Island. Now, you see the maps on this thing, and it's really freaking annoying. When I do my my Dawn of X live review, I'll actually show you on a map. I've actually got a map back there. You can't see it right now. I'll show you on the map where all these places are. I really like the location of this stuff. It's kind of freaking cool. That being said, I digress. When they all land on this island, the X-Men are like, dude, what do you call it? Oh, for crying out loud, Emma Frost. Most specifically, Emma Frost. She is pointedly talking about how you can find your kids and all that good stuff after you come back to Krakoa and face crimes for invading and spying on our country. You were there illegally. All right? The United States government gave us permission. Think about that. To come to. I know they can flout about, the only people who brag about diplomatic immunity are the bad guys. Yeah, I saw Lethal Weapon 2 also. Great freaking movie, That being said, Diplomatic immunity is an actual thing granted by a higher government office than you, FF. Deal with it. What you did was invade a sovereign nation recognized by your nation. I'm saying you kind of funked up pretty badly there. So, but that being said, to me, the best person on both sides of this, all sides of this equation, is Sue Storm. Oh, she's not great in this particular story, but she's also dealing with trying to get, her kids back. So it's mostly understood. But she is saying some really racist things. She's not overt, but anyway, that doesn't really happen in this book. But in here, she is seen as, one, being a very crucial member of the team, one of the most crucial members of the team. She's got an amazing power, let's be realistic. But on top of that, she's also one of the best moral figures here. And I'm hoping that her morality is what actually saves the day in the end of the next issue, because it always seems to come through. Actually, realistically, I want her and Kate to start having a conversation with each other and actually fix all these dumbasses who just want to fight. Dr. Doom, man, he has got a hard-on for freaking insulting Wolverine. Like, he just wants to give him a freaking mushroom tat on his head. Bam! I'd call it a Doom tat or something like that. Be like, dude, he does not like Wolverine at all. Like, he's just talking about, hey, Magneto, here I am. I can already feel you trying to manipulate my armor, but I'm Dr. Doom, biznatch. You ain't got nothing on me. You're trying to do stuff to me. Do you want me to do stuff to you? Magneto wouldn't last against Dr. Doom, and I love that. In the meantime, he's talking trash about Wolverine. He's like, hey, you can't mess with me, but I guess that's very different from this guy with all the metal bones and whatnot. I bet you could do whatever you want to this guy. Pretty interesting commentary. I wonder if Sardowski's doing that on purpose, since that's exactly what we'd seen in previous issues. I think it was specifically X-Force. Remember where he was like throwing him through the freaking the Krakoan gate and whatnot? It's like, yeah, I'm just gonna have you do this, that, and the other thing, all these different things. Yeah, screw you. You're gonna do whatever I tell you to do, Wolverine, because you know what? You're made of metal, and I'm Magneto. And later on, there's also the conversation. Magneto with Doom. It's funny. Doom actually gives the exact explanation that I was hoping that I actually talked to you guys about in one of my Dawn of X reviews that I wanted him to be able to make. He has this conversation where he said, and I'll go into it a lot more depth, where he basically says, you guys, you have what you have because you were born with it. Like, he really starts talking about mutant privilege. Oh, I love this. He starts talking about this, saying, hey, man, check this out. I had to work for everything that I've got. You were just born with this, that, and the other thing. Very interesting. Because, listen, at the end of the day, people don't study to become geniuses. You know what I'm saying? You work for it. You do whatever you got to do. But at the same time, you're born having a higher cognitive reasoning ability than other people. Some people, like, you don't know, maybe it could be genetic. A lot of it's genetics. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it can also be like lead in the water ever since you were a kid. You know what I'm saying? Things that you had no control over. Maybe you wind up getting hit in the head one too many times when you were a kid. You know what I'm saying? There's too many different stories that can come out for why somebody's not that intelligent. So Doom being that smart, look, he worked for his magic, he worked to get the education he got, he worked for all the things he got, but he was born being that smart. So it's funny hearing somebody of massive amounts of privilege talking about, hey, you know what I'm saying? But then again, Dr. Doom is this guy who, born as smart as he is, hey, there are lots of engineers who are super duper smart. I've met some of the smartest people I know are engineers in some capacity or another. Chemical engineers, electrical, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, form of engineer. Engineers are some of the smartest people that I know. At the same time, how many engineers do you know who are president? Exactly. Not saying all of them would be good. Heck, freaking Bloomberg was an engineer. That guy's a jackass. I digress, though. Sometimes the smartest people are not the ones who become our elected representatives. And Doom, however, is, because he usurped a government that was tyrannical and did murder his family. So, justified? Sure. Just happened to be what it was. But he does still come from some level of privilege. He did have his gypsy family to return to. His mother was a sorceress of immense power, and he had access to those books when other people didn't, and he did have the cognitive ability to understand this stuff, this medicine, or the medicine and everything else he studied, including the magic, in order to get to the position that he's at. So he comes from a certain level of privilege himself, and the circumstances were just perfect to put him where he was. Because if he was born, let's say, in the middle of freaking, I don't know, Tanzania, what happens then? Where are you then? Maybe he would have made something of himself. Maybe not. But there is a very interesting, and I want to get into this a whole lot more when I start doing my my Dawn of X live review, which hopefully will come up on Friday. I'll give you guys ample notice, and hey, this way you guys can interact, and I'll go a whole lot deeper into it. All that being what it is, Doom makes a couple of rules, and he says, hey, you're not allowed to come into the city. Okay, bottom line, you guys can do whatever you want out here. You can wait here. Don't fight on my freaking island, and just wait here and chill out. You're not allowed to go in the city. Well, of course, you tell them not to do something, they're going to do it. And let's be realistic, dude. It's mostly the mutants doing this. But when you're sitting here talking about, hey, you're not allowed to come into my island, and then, or you're not allowed to come into my island of Krakoa, but then on Doom Island, well, I'm here. What's the problem if I go over there? Is this kind of like the Garden of Eden in some regards? Hey, you can eat from everything here except for that tree. Oh, wait a second. That's the only tree that I want to eat from now because you said I can't eat from it. That's not cool. But temptation. And at the end of the day, you can argue it biblically. God knew that people were going to eat from the tree, the forbidden tree, the tree of, what was it? The tree of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? The knowledge of good and evil. You know what I'm saying? They didn't get the tree of life and death, but they got the tree from the fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So all of a sudden, Wolverine, of all things, like he was banking on Wolverine in this. Twice he talked trash about Wolverine. And it's Wolverine who winds up doing something stupid, and it looks like he kills a mutant. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This is not going to bode well, and I'm very curious how this is going to go. Also, hey, a couple of first appearances in here are characters who I hope are going to be important at some time in the future, or not. You'll have to guess. But issue number 3 has a couple of new mutants in here, Latverian mutants, which seems pretty interesting. They've also got a story to tell. I'll talk about more on that in my spoiler review, the live Dawn of X spoiler review, because, hey. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for me. Make sure you turn that phone sideways, like the button. And I'm saying, I understand if you can't, join Patreon or whatever these other, little aspects of life are, because it's ridiculously hard times. But if you had the time to watch this video, you can show that you actually appreciate the content I put out by allowing an ad or two to play, to run all the way through to the end without clicking it off. That's the only way that YouTubers get paid from YouTube. Just saying. Even if you got to watch your next video on a different screen and, mute the other one, allow the freaking ad to play. I would appreciate it. And that's it for me, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.